This is Countdown Qatar on TV3. My name is Yao Ofusulabi. From now up until the start of the World Cup in November, I'll be taking you on a journey that starts here in an all too familiar place in the capital. And that journey will consist of many stories, magical ones that has made the World Cup such an important fabric of sports in the world. Coming up on Countdown Qatar this week, a journey to the World Cup that ended in pain and misery for the Black Stars. When Tlemcen comes to mind, what do you think of?
Disappointment.
We hear from coach of the Black Stars, Otoado.
What I saw was especially offensively very impressive.
And we'll take you to a World Cup legend who scored at the 2006 World Cup against the United States of America.
Every footballer's dream to be in the World Cup.
Now we start off with a football story that is not fondly remembered by many football fans in this country. Now, have you thought about how difficult it is to qualify for the World Cup? Ghana qualified for a first World Cup in 2006 that was met by huge euphoria across the country. But before then, there were many shocks, one of which was in 1993. The Ghana side of 1992 were the exponents of how football should be played in this country. And that meant anyone in the team could do anything, and Abedi Pele could do everything. That side had an existential connection with a country that went beyond the cliches of regular love of country and of the beautiful game.
We think it's one of our finest teams. Collectively, all the departments were very strong, had players, a mix of home-based players and foreign-based players, and at the time when the captain, Abedi Pele, was on top of his game.
Abedi was the ultimate expression of individuality on a football pitch. He added poetry to football, and there was just a touch of literature about his game. But if the Black Stars were to see some glory days and Ghana would be heading to a first World Cup, it'll all depend on him. He was African Footballer of the Year and was on top of his game. A country's hopes of reaching the United States rested on his shoulders.
It needed something special to break the deadlock in the second half, and we got it from the African Player of the Year, Abedi Pele. Once again going through the strength of the run and the telling shot, the difference between him and other players in the tournament.
Abedi Pele was the quintessential leader. He was a leader on the field, to the extent that sometimes when he's not on the field, then we begin to, because the players themselves believed in him.
Pele was like, for my generation at least, like the first Ghanaian football hero. You understand? Like, I had to even grow to realize that the Pele wasn't even his real name, and he was Abedi Ayew, and the Pele was from another Pele.
2 goals from Prince Opokupoli and Kwame Ayew gave Ghana a 2-0 win over Algeria in Accra. The Black Stars looked back in control of their own destiny. After Algeria's draw with Burundi, the stage was set for a revenge match against the East Africans, and Abedi Pele stepped up. He scored in a 1-0 win for Ghana that opened up a chance to qualify to the next stage if only the Black Stars could pick up a draw against the Algerians in the final group match.
Draws first blood for Ghana.
The stakes were high for the second leg. Ghana had won the first leg 2-0 in Accra, and everyone thought it was time to reach the next qualifying phase. The Algerians, dying to have a bite of the cherry, took the game away from the capital, Algiers, into a relatively unfavorable northwestern province in a city called Tlemcen.
Tlemcen is really the westernmost corner of Algeria. It's on the border with Morocco. It's very rich in terms of cultural history. A lot of Islamic empires were birthed over there. And it's also well known in Algeria for actually being the home to many politicians. So it has a certain prestige about it. It's more known as a city of knowledge than a city of football.
When Tlemcen comes to mind, what do you think of?
Disappointment.
It reminds me of the potential we had and the possibility of us going to the World Cup, but we're missing.
Our maiden appearance at the World Cup that never was.
Anytime I remember Tlemcen, it is as if it happened only yesterday.
So there they were, all the stars.
The day of the game, it was a rainy day. Cold, of course. But these are circumstances, these are situations you will find when you play football, you know. So sometimes we don't use the weather as an excuse. But I must say that there wasn't fair treatment. If I cannot speak for anybody, I will speak for myself as the goalkeeper, because I was the goalkeeper. I was the one in the goalpost. And as much as the weather was not the best, the pitch, I must say, is what failed me. And I'm talking of me as the goalkeeper, Damba. The pitch was so soggy. So soggy. And I will say to you, without mincing words, that if it was a game of today, it wouldn't have been sanctioned. Another cause was that we had press men, cameramen with bazooka cameras, with huge flashes, not less than 10 meters away from the goal line, which is unacceptable today. We're taking pictures left, right, center. The flashes were coming left, right, center. The game was played in the night. So it kept blinding me as to whether it was deliberate or not. It happened.
We thought this is the time for us, you know, it's now or never, especially for the likes of the Tonys and the Peles. So we thought this is now or never. And like I said, we were so overconfident when we got there. We realized, you know, the players we had, there's no way they could beat us.
Because at those days, you know, technology or how football has been advanced, you know, in that sense, was not there. So we were somehow robbed. It was 90 minutes game, but of course, you go to an away game, a very tough area, and then you go ahead. You know, it's a big advantage.
Still with the 1-0 lead, we were confident. We felt that something good was going to happen.
Abukari Damba recounts the level of unsportsmanlike behavior they had to endure at halftime.
At recess, after first half, we did not have access to enter our dressing room. We didn't have access. The dressing room door was locked, key, and we're left outside.
An Algerian team that wasn't bad. I mean, it was a generation. Rabah Maja had retired, and then you had Sharif El Lujani and Musa Saib, who was very top with Auxerre. So yes, they got the equalizer, but we still had a chance, because at this point it was still 1-1. We couldn't just control the ball. But then again, still with 1-1, we had the chance. If only we could see this through, we would be, you know, through to the next stage of the qualifiers, which would give us a chance to finish it off. Then towards the dying embers of the game, disaster struck.
Never spoke to anybody. We ourselves as players were quiet, with our heads buried between our knees. We looked like total strangers to one another, and that is very normal.
It was painful, but I thought, okay, it didn't happen. We'll see how it goes, because then I was also another up and coming, so I thought, okay, I'll still have the opportunity to play another qualifier.
Any of your teammates who cried that day?
I think the likes of Joe Dwayne shed tears, because he made the mistake for the, and Damba was really down.
It was hard to take. It was very, very difficult. I remember looking into the face of a friend of mine, of late, and I asked him, I mean, when again? When? Because, I mean, our dads didn't witness a World Cup. We felt that this was the time to make it, but it didn't happen.
I had a very terrible time on the pitch, because my feet were nearly almost soaked in water. The water was very cold. My legs were almost freezing point. And naturally, as a human being, I need blood to flow through my veins to keep me active. Our hopes were so high. We knew we were going to qualify for the World Cup. And sometimes also, overconfidence can lead to some of these things. As the goalkeeper, who was supposed to save the team, and had such an abysmal performance, a poor performance, unexpected and not characteristic of me, I was the most disappointed.
So driving through the city, Accra has changed a lot since 1993. People have grown, the city has developed a bit more, the music has changed, and football has definitely gotten better. But the pain of Tlemcen still rests in the underbelly of many of the country's older football fans.
Some of us thought we had a side that would have made a statement, not just to advertise the Ghanaian brand of football, but would have made the world realize that African football had arrived.
If it had been now, I don't think that would be, probably CAF would be more in the decision making where the match should be played, and all that.
If you had a chance to do Tlemcen all over again, what would you do right?
I think wear the right shoes. Simple, wear the right shoes. Take the right shoes along, because majority of us were wearing rubber stars, and then when we came back, and the field was full of water, and then they were wearing hard stars. Only one player can wear rubber stud and do magic. It's Abedi Pele.
It would have really been completed like his whole legend, because he won the European Cup, right? So if he was at least able to have gone, it would have been a beautiful thing.
Do you regret not playing in the World Cup? Is this something that...
It's a moment of time, If I regret, what about Pele, Abedi Pele? A big star like him is, but it's a moment of time. They are all part of the struggle.
I am among the privileged young Ghanaians to have seen the country qualify for several World Cups. But I can't help but feel sorry for my dad's generation and the generation before that, my granddads, who claim their teams were even more talented than these ones. There have been many debacles, and Ghana as a country has particularly not lived up to a name as a football nation. It has just been one degree of disappointment after the other. So whenever you hear Tlemcen, just know the bit of history attached to it.